stories, our voice, our history hasn't always been welcomed. But we learned long ago that if America won't celebrate us, then we will celebrate our own, told our way, on our time. Today we have thousands of Black creators in film. Thousands of books are on the shelves of stores around the world. But it wasn't always as easy. For Lena, for Hattie, for James, for Zora, for Langston, we fought for a place in American history, and we've empowered our own voices, keeping our stories alive. Remember Philando? Remember Mike? Remember Trayvon? Remember Sandra? Remember Oscar? Remember Brianna? No more will Black voices go unheard. No more will Black stories go unread. We will write our own history and create our own legacies. And each summer in Atlanta, we will gather. We will celebrate. We speak out. Black voices matter. Black stories matter. Black lives matter. Everybody has a story to tell. Make sure that you tell yours. Create your story. Dream out loud.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again, AAMBC's BC Inc.'s conversation series, where we talk to authors, specifically fiction authors, and we discuss their books and their projects and their writing process. Thank you so much. And today we will be speaking with writer Jacqueline Stewart.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Hi, how you doing, Jacqueline?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Busy, but I'm doing well.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. And we're glad to have you. So I'm excited because as we just passed, over the holiday, the Christmas season, we just celebrated that family time and just, that warm time that we're used to having. But we see that you recently have released a new book. Yes, called Maybe This Christmas Will Be Different.
Right.
Yes. So tell us a little bit first before we dive into this book, which is very much just on time. Let us know a little bit about you and what you do, who you are, and kind of what drives you to write.
Okay, well, of course, I'm Jacqueline Stewart. I am a mother of 2 children. I'm a military spouse of 11 years. A little bit away from the writing, I love to advocate for youth and just encourage moms, parents who have children with developmental delays, autism, mental health issues, because I have a son that has autism and I have a daughter that is diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. So I love to encourage, parents just to do what they need for their children, make sure they have the right resources, whether it's at home, at school. And I have my own story as far as mental health. And so I encourage women in that area as well. And I am a writer. I'm an author. I have written books, a journal, a web series, short films, and plays. And so I love to tell stories. So I am a storyteller. I believe that is my service to the universe, to God, just to tell whatever stories that are in my heart, what I see, what I connect with, and what He gives me. And so my writing background began in theater. I'm a graduate of Northwestern State University, where I majored in theater. And so my storytelling and my journey just began from there. And like I said, I love it. Even though I'm doing fiction stories, there's always a purpose in anything that I write. I love for people to grab something out of the story. And they tend to usually do. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times fiction stories are more real than a real story. If you know what I mean. Because a lot of times fiction authors compile different real experiences, maybe just from various resources, but they compile them to create a fiction story. But it's very real and true happenings that it's based on. So specifically, your Christmas book is about a real person, yes?
Yes, it is. It is inspired. It's fiction, but it is inspired by the life of my mother. And so she was a woman that had 5 kids. She'd been through several relationships that did not work out. Some abusive, just different things that she'd gone through in her life, whether it was with mental health or, you know, different things that she did that wasn't healthy for her. And so it's inspired by her life. And the character is a woman that has 5 kids that have been through several relationships with 4 different men. She's gone through mental breakdowns. She's dealt with addiction, almost losing her children, not loving herself anymore, not feeling like she's worthy because she's this woman that has been through all of these relationships and she has all of these children. And just really trying to find love within herself and hopefully finding physical love with somebody else who will really love her and love her children as well.
Yes, I love it. And it's such a relatable story. I mean, like I said, obviously, kudos to the honor of your mom and just her impact of her story that it had on you for the fact that you felt like you needed to put this on paper and, kind of bring some lessons and some things out of that to pass forward. So that's awesome. But it's such a relatable story to so many women and just people in general that are going through this kind of thing.
Right.
Children, women, even the men, to give them a different perspective too sometimes. So that's really awesome. When you were writing, what was it like? How did you feel about putting certain things in the story? Just the tough things, you know what I mean? How did you do that?
Well, I think I was more concerned about how my mother would feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to make sure that she was okay, but I wanted to make sure that I was doing justice to the story. You know, that old generation, they don't like for their business to be out on the street,
Right, absolutely.
as we grew up
Yeah.
when we grew up in the African American community, everything is like put under the rug. And so
Yeah.
I was a little nervous about it. And honestly, she said, well, I trust you with the story, but she was really worried about it, a little nervous about it as well, even though she didn't say anything about it at first. Um,
Right.
because she didn't know what I was going to say. She didn't know what the story
Yeah.
was going to be like or
And
how
I
I was
think
going to put it together.
Yeah, and I think she too, like just listening to what you're saying, it seems like too that she's supportive of you. And I think she just kind of wanted you to put the story out there because she knows that it will help people, but still weary, because it's her story. Yeah.
Right. And ultimately she was like, if my life can help somebody else's, then I'm good with that. Even though
Yeah.
she was nervous about it. But after she read, I wanted her to read it before I put it out. But she was like, I trust you. And then when I was getting the process of actually putting it out, she was
Hmm.
nervous about it. But after she read it after it was out. And so she was very pleased with it,
Oh,
So
good. Okay, good. And
yeah.
and I like that she did that, waited till after it was out because it was like whatever feelings you do have, it's out. So it's like whatever, you just gotta the good thing is that, like we said, that stories like this have so much power.
Right.
And if we can get through the shame or the guilt or whatever we may feel that's like negative associated with these experiences, then they have so much positive growth, growth promoting power. So
Right.
I commend you for your courage with that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so how did you publish? Did you self-publish or did you go through a
I,
publishing company?
I self-publish. That's what I normally do is self-publish. Just kind of go through that entire process. And it can be a little nerve-wracking because you got to make sure that everything is on point. But I
Mm-hmm.
kind of enjoy that because it gives me the pace that I need. I get to go back and read over and over and over, make sure that things are clicking with my mind and
Mm-hmm.
with my spirit, because I know that if it clicks, then it's going to click with the readers. And if something
Right.
isn't working out, then I know it's not going to work out with anybody that reads it or sees it or anything like that. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
self-publishing.
Gotcha. Okay. So was that process costly for you, or what is your experience with self-publishing, and what kind of advice would you give someone else who would be considering this for the first time?
My experience, I love it. I love it. I think that, again, like I said, I think, you're kind of nervous about it because you don't have anybody to really back you up as far as getting your story out there. You have to put a lot of work into it. but I think that it's worth it. For me, like I said, not only am I picking out the cover, not only am I, going back doing the edits, reading it over and over. It can be tiring, but again, you get to move in your own pace. You get to do things how you want to do it, and if you're that creative person, you have more control of what you want to do. You don't have to wait for somebody to put your story out there and wait on their deadline or their timing. You're going on your own timing, and you're able to release it when you want to. So I would say the important things are making sure you have correct formatting, making sure that you have the correct edits, making sure that you have the right structure, the right conversation flow, all of those things. But it takes a lot of work, but it's
Got
worth
it.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I see that you offer services for this kind of thing, just a writing journey, and just for people
Right.
who are looking to move forward in their writing projects. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there?
Yes. So say for instance, if a person has a concept or an idea of a story, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to put it in order, they really don't know how to get it out of their brain or out of their hearts. I help them with their outlines. I give them maybe chapters, suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over the things that they want to put in their story. And so I just basically give them an outline to help them to write their story and really put it out there how they want to. But say for instance, if they already have a manuscript, I'll help them to critique the manuscript. I'll say, hey, you may want to add this or take this out. Basically, I give them structure and critique if they already have
Mm-hmm.
a manuscript. So if you only have an idea, I make sure to help you with an outline so that you can write your book. But if you've already written your book, then I just help you with structure and critique and editing and different things like that.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's really helpful. I think that makes, it really makes it easier on people who don't have as much experience, or who, people are just starting out.
Right,
I like that what you offer kind of covers the hard part, which is the structural part. And it just
right.
leaves, yeah, it leaves the writer to be able to just write and to just do what they know best, which is tell whatever story they're trying to tell. So that's awesome. Did you have any like proofreaders or like second or third eyes that maybe read your manuscript before you published your books?
I did. I always get, some people say beta readers. So I always get somebody who will read it and they help me with the flow of the story. Basically, they'll help me to know if the story makes sense or if it doesn't make sense, if there's a good flow. Because flow is very important to me. So I make sure that someone else reads it, whether it's one person or two people. I'll make sure that they read it in order to help me with the flow of the story. And once I know that the flow of the story is good and the flow makes sense, then I can go back with the structure, more of the edits, more of finding a balance in order to before I put the story out. So yeah, I always make sure that someone reads it ahead of time.
Gotcha. Okay. That's awesome. And it's great to have that kind of support system too that you can trust, and really
Yes,
that'll give you the real deal opinion, because
right.
sometimes
Like,
people,
yeah, I was about
no,
to
go
say,
ahead.
like, say for instance, of course I have other people to read it, but like say my first book, fiction book, I had my husband to read it as well, but I had other people to read it besides him. But he was like, okay, the beginning of your story is boring. You need to, he would tell me the truth. And so I
Hmm.
would have to add, okay, I need to add a little entertainment here, a little scandal here, a little comedy, different things like that. So he would be like,
Hmm.
no, this is boring. You need to do something with this. And so, but yeah, I have people that will give me, like you said, the real deal. Hey, this isn't working. Do this, do that, and stuff like that. So I think that's very important.
That's really awesome. And I'm actually one of those people, I guess because of the kind of work that I do, but I'm
Mhm.
that annoying person that watches a movie and I find the things in the movie that is like, wait, that can't happen because I thought they said this, or I thought, like things that don't add up, like pieces that maybe the producer or the director missed. So I love, it's really awesome. And that's what that second pair of eyes would do, because sometimes when you
Yes.
tell when you tell the story, you were there or you created it, so you have all the pieces. But if somebody wasn't there or they've never heard the story, they can definitely pick out missing pieces. So
Right.
that is really awesome. So tell us a little bit about your other books. What else what other published books do you have? I know you have A Way of Escape. Tell us a
Right.
little bit about that.
Yes, that one is more about it's entertainment, scandal, drama, and it's this woman that's basically in a relationship. She's been in a relationship with her man for about 5 years. He's cheated on her several times. She's trying to make it work, but however, her heart is just done with all of the heartbreak that she's gone through, and so eventually she finds another love interest, and some things happen. I don't want to get too deep into it, but some things
Yes.
happen with her other love interest, and there are some surprises and some twists at the end of the story. And so it's just about this woman that is trying to find a way of escape from a broken heart and really a broken relationship. And
Right.
so it kind of gives women the thought of, what do you do? Do you stay in this relationship and try to work it out, or do you go? Or do you allow the universe to make the decision for you? So it's kind of like a little mystery in there as well.
Okay, all right. And is that fiction story based on a real story as well, or
It's not. It's not based
okay.
on a real story. What I tell people, creatives always have a creative mind. We have a mind of fantasy. And so
Yes.
one day I was just in the shower, and this concept that has always been in my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a piece of that, what I've always thought in my mind, and I'm going to create a story out of that entire piece. And so that's the thing about being a writer. You can create whatever it is that you want to write. So yeah, it is not inspired by anything that's true, but I believe that it can be relevant to any person's life. I've had
Yes.
people to come to me and, were just in awe, about the story and about the ending and just different things that they found from the story that I really didn't even think about, but they pulled things out of. But the main thing was they got the gist of what I was trying to say, but they were able to bring other things out of it as well. And a lot of people have been telling me, we want a part two, we want a part two. And I've had people to call me and say, okay, I think you can add this in part two and you can do this, so.
That's when you know you got a hit, girlfriend. Let me tell you.
Right. So
When
I'm
that when
planning
people
on, go
No,
ahead,
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
girl. No, you fine.
So,
Go ahead, girl.
so I'm planning on doing a part two. I've just had other things that I'm working on first, and then I'll get into the part two of that story.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I was just gonna say that when people start, trying to fill in things or trying to create their own sequels off of it to tell you
Yes,
what they think might happen, should happen, whatever. That's when you know you got to hit, because
right.
they don't want it to end. They do not want
Hmm.
it to end. So that's really awesome.
Yes.
So do you plan on, before we go, we have to go soon, but before we go, do you plan on having a sequel, or will there be a sequel to your Christmas book? And also let us know where we can find you and how we can order either one or both of your books that you have right now.
Okay, so there will be no sequel to the Christmas book. However, I do want to write a Christmas movie that is
Okay.
inspired by the book. Is basically, from the book. So that's what I want to do as far as that. And you can find me on Instagram, Linktree, LinkedIn, and Twitter at Writer J.N. Stewart. You can email me at writerjnstewart@gmail.com. But once you go on my Instagram, you can hit the link that's in my profile. It will take you to all of my books, things that I've written before now, inspirational stories, anything like that. So that's how you can keep up with me and what I'm doing, my journey, and different things like that.
Okay, perfect. Well, before we go, and that's great. Before we go, if you could share a piece of advice that you would give to any new or aspiring author who, I guess, feels stuck and just hasn't started yet, what would you tell them?
I don't think that it is that you're stuck. I just think that you're having a hard time being confident in your ability to write and tell the story that you want to tell. So, what I would say is make sure that your mind and your spirit are open to whatever story that the universe wants to give you. Trust your writing ability. Just take some time to write whatever it is that you want to write. Jot down your ideas, jot down your story, jot down the things that are coming to your mind, to your heart. And make sure that you're in tune with culture. Make sure that you're in tune with the people around you. Make sure that you're in tune with what's going on in the world. Collaborate, connect, network with other people. And once you connect with other people, then I believe that things in you will begin to flow, and the story that you feel is stuck on the inside of you will begin to flow as well. So that would be my advice to any new writer.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It was so clean and so thorough and so real. I appreciate that. And as I'm sure does the people who are watching and thinking about writing. And once again, thank all the watchers for tuning in with us. This is such an amazing segment that we do. We speak to authors and we get their opinions. We get sneak peeks and mini spoilers, not really, but mini spoilers on books. I try to get the sauce. Yes, because we want to know, honey, but we're going to get these books. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Jacqueline, for sharing and for letting us know how we can support you. Otherwise, we hope that you guys continue to have a great holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, all of the above.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
I told a story, not with the stroke of a pen, but with the depth of my soul, not by the light of the... I told a story, not with the stroke of a pen,